Misconception number 1. Cheating is acceptable, or everyone in Japan cheats. Of course that is not true. Cheating is just as bad in Japan as anywhere else. The numbers are actually pretty similar. In America, between 20 and 30% of men will cheat at some point in their lives, whereas between 15 to 20% of women will cheat. For Japan, the numbers are a little bit harder to get because they don't have quite as many scientific studies. However, on average about 20 to 30 for men and somewhere between 12 to 25 for women. And that number drops a lot for the younger generations. So for people under 30, that's only about 20% of people who will cheat. So generally, that's roughly around the same numbers as America. I think there are 2 reasons this might be a misconception, and one would be because people tend to talk about their negative experiences. Why would you write a blog post about, hey, my boyfriend hasn't cheated on me? Like, why would you ever do that? No one would do that. So of course you're going to read all of the negative stories, and that makes it seem like more negative things happen. The second thing would be that Japanese people have different ideas of what they consider to be cheating. I'm going to show you a survey of 3,000 people broken into men and women that shows what they consider cheating. The number 1 thing is of course having sex with someone else. The second would be going on vacation with someone. But if you go down to 15% for men and 26% for women, that says fuzoku ni iku, which is prostitution. So only a 1/4 of women and a 1/6 of men consider prostitution to be cheating in Japan. Now, direct penetration prostitution is illegal. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But because of that, when you say fuzoku in Japan, there are a lot of things that could be. That's a broad spectrum. Because I know you guys are gonna ask, June does consider that cheating, and I think he was more surprised to find the numbers that low than I was. Misconception number 2. It's rude if you don't slurp your noodles, or slurping your noodles is a compliment to the chef. Neither of those are true at all. You do not ever have to slurp your noodles in Japan. There are only 2 types of noodles that you would slurp as well, and those would be soba or udon noodles. And the reason that Japanese people slurp their noodles are because A, that's just how their culture grew up. It never became something that was unacceptable. B, most of the time when you're eating these noodles, you're getting soup that was just previously boiling, so it's very hot. It's actually really difficult to eat the noodles without slurping them because they're so hot. And it's considered good to eat them as quickly as possible before they soak in the soup for too long and become soggy. And C, some people say that it makes the noodles taste better because you're mixing air with it on your tongue, sort of like wine tasting, I've heard. Misconception number 3, Japan is an anime safe haven. So if you absolutely love anime, you are just gonna fit right in Japan. That unfortunately is not true. I think Japan actually discriminates against nerds more than we do in America. America has sort of undergone a nerd revolution, so being nerdy in America is actually pretty fine these days. Maybe some people would still give you a hard time, but not in general. Most everyone has something about them that's nerdy these days. But in Japan, being a super nerd about something or being otaku is really still bad. Of course, you'll be able to find friends and you'll still be able to go to conventions and fit in with some people. But in general society, if you go outside looking like an otaku, or if you talk to people like an otaku, or you like hoard figures in your room and have posters all over the place, you're kind of going to be looked down on by general society. Misconception number 4. Japanese people believe that blood type determines your personality. This is a misconception because it's very over-exaggerated. Japanese people view blood types the same way that we view horoscopes here in America. Most people just think of it as something fun and silly. Of course, everyone has that friend they know that is really into horoscopes and like truly believes them. Maybe you know a couple people or something like that. And so that is true in Japan too. Some people really do believe in it, but in general, it's just for fun. And no, companies do not ask for your blood type when you're applying for a job. I think that's a story of it happened once somewhere and then a foreign newspaper picked it up and they were like, hey, look at this crazy thing about Japan. This happens to everyone in Japan. Come read this news article. And no, it's really over-exaggerated. That does not happen. Jin said that if someone ever asked for his blood type in an interview, that he would no longer want to work for that job. So that is not common at all. And misconception number 5, Japanese people eat blank. There are actually a lot of parts to this, so I'm going to go through all of them. Japanese people eat cats or dogs. No, not even at all. That one is really out of the ballpark. Japanese people eat live cephalopods. This is kind of an over-exaggeration. They do have some live dishes, but in general, these are dishes where they have killed the animal, so it is dead, but it's freshly dead, and so it still has the electrical impulses that can make its muscles move around. The most common one that we see is the dancing squid dish or dancing octopus, dancing cuttlefish, whichever one they use, and the animal there is already dead. What happens is once you pour soy sauce on the animal, that causes muscle spasms and it makes it look like the animal is still alive. And those aren't common either. That's kind of like a novelty in Japan. It would be like going to one of those heart attack cafes in America and eating one of those like giant burgers where if you eat the whole thing, you get it for free. So maybe some people do that, but generally not very seriously. Japanese people eat dolphins. This one is another one that's really over-exaggerated. Most people in Japan do not eat dolphins, do not want to eat dolphins, do not approve of killing dolphins at all. Most Japanese people view dolphins as like a really cool animal that you would go to see in an aquarium or something like that. June had no idea that Japanese people ate dolphins at all. There's only one place in Japan that organized dolphin hunting still happens, and that is in the small coastal town of Taiji. Every year they hold a dolphin drive hunt where they capture dolphins primarily to sell for entertainment, but a small portion of that is also sold on the market as food. However, the vast majority of Japanese people have never eaten dolphin. Japanese people eat whale. Yes, this one does happen. This is still uncommon. A lot of people do not eat whale at all. You guys know how much June likes cooking. He has never seen whale sold in his city ever. Most Japanese people, if they've had whale, they've had it in kyushoku as a child. Kyushoku is your school lunch. So it was something that they were kind of force-fed as children and not something that they've chosen to eat. Some people still do choose to eat whale, and that is true, but it's still uncommon. Okay, fine, but Japanese people eat raw fish, and that is really weird. Fair enough, raw fish can be considered weird by plenty of people. However, there are a number of people these days, especially the younger generation, who also think raw fish is weird and they don't eat it. So as a foreigner, if you're going to Japan and you find raw fish kind of weird and you don't want to eat it, no one's gonna blame you because some Japanese people don't eat raw fish either. Same goes for natto, which is fermented soybeans, or really anything else that looks like strange food in Japan. Even if Japanese people eat it themselves, most of them would recognize that it's kind of a strange food or a lot of people might find it gross, so they would completely understand if you don't want to eat it. Okay, so this was just a really quick overview of all of these things. I didn't want to make this video too long, so if you have anything else you want to say, we can discuss it down in the comments. I put all of my sources for everything I said down in our description as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!